Online Radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network.
'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven.
A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UENradio.com.
Hey, everybody. It is Wednesday, July 30th. I'm Emerson Collins.
And I'm Del Shores.
And you're listening to
The Del and Emerson Show. Straight talk.
Real gay. Hey, everybody.
Welcome back to our show.
It is a big, exciting Wednesday. We are thrilled that we'll be joined a little later on by television star, Broadway star, director, multi-talented artist, Mr. Michael Urie.
And most importantly, a fellow Texan.
Okay, that can be most important.
Just, because we're all Texan.
I don't know
here.
if among his credits he would feel that was most important.
It's very important to me. He's from Plano.
You can find The Del and Emerson Show on Facebook at The Del and Emerson Show. You can download all of our shows for free from iTunes. You can sign up and subscribe there. And we're offering a special opportunity. Y'all, the show doesn't happen for free. And at the end of these 12 episodes, if you want us to keep going, we got to figure out a way to pay for it.
Yes,
so
we do.
we are offering a very special opportunity. You can be a one-week sponsor of the show. You will get to pick a topic that we will cover for 5 minutes, and you can call in and be a part of that discussion with us. So if that sounds interesting to you, hit us up on our Facebook page, or you can email us at delandemerson@gmail.com. End of commercial. Moving on.
What's going on, Emerson? What's going on in the
really quickly,
in the world of gay?
We have equality catch-up. Big news in equality.
It's a huge week in equality.
Marriage equality comes to Virginia.
Yeah, we got that one. I love
the birthplace of American institutions.
Yeah, it's just right and left. The courts are passing these.
This is a big one because it's not a state level court. It's the circuit level court. It's the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, and there are only 10 of those court levels in the country. So this ruling really also applies to South Carolina, North Carolina, and West Virginia.
And because of that, North Carolina Attorney General has decided not to fight.
Yes,
right?
they are not going to. It's this weird legal gray area that happens when an Attorney General says they're not going to fight the cases. It doesn't really make it legal. It means they're not going to challenge it, and basically we're all going to wait for a big court decision that makes it all legal again. But the South Carolina Attorney General, however, said, not in my state.
No. We still fly that Confederate flag. We just want to continue to be on the wrong side of history.
It sort of makes sense because North Carolina is like the Yankee Carolina and South Carolina is like the Dixie Carolina. So, of course, it's the South of the Carolinas.
But
hanging on.
I have to say that when everything was going down, there was some horrible rhetoric that came out of North Carolina. That was, for a while, North Carolina was fighting it out for you remember that horrible preacher that was wanting to put us in electric fences? Because that'd just stop us from being gay.
Absolutely.
That'd stop because,
that's all it would take.
Eliminate us.
We'll all be done. Where else we got?
Well, what else do we have? I've got to look.
What's happening is that Del Shores isn't paying attention to our show order.
I'm just
right there.
Miami. We're in Miami. Emerson, you're supposed to keep me on track here. I'm old and feeble. We've got Miami-Dade County judge. One more judge in Florida, correct?
Yes, but look at Florida being crazy again. They're doing it county by county. It's like the hanging Chad situation all over again. At this rate, it's going to take them 70 years going county by county up to the Panhandle.
But so it's the two counties have said it's unconstitutional.
Yeah.
So the rest of the counties,
they haven't managed to get a state level decision. So it's like the really gay counties. We've got the Florida Keys and Miami-Dade.
Well, the Keys
That's
had to. Otherwise, they're just not going to have anybody come there. So, but hey, you got to celebrate the victories
Absolutely.
One by one. And we also had Colorado this week, right? Look,
Colorado was not a good one.
Oh, wait. You're
this
right.
is not going well. See, what happened is I tried to let Del be in charge of moving from one story to the next, and I even wrote his name beside it on the thing.
I shouldn't have had that Red Bull. It just sped me up.
That's the only problem.
Well, and of course with the vodka in it.
All right, so
tell us about Boulder.
In Boulder, there was a county that was just decided on its own to give out licenses to gay couples, and they've been told to stop, so they can get a little high while they wait.
Okay, here's the way I will spin that into a positive. I think that anytime there's profile, anytime there's attention, it shines a light on it, and we are having positive things happen. So yeah, we're going to get it all by the end, right?
And in the court cases, we are 29 for 29.
That's right.
So the other side is not doing well. In fact, the National Organization of Marriage, NOM, which makes me laugh because every time I say it, I want to go nom, 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 because they're just eating their feelings and stuff. They put out a statement about, I believe it was Virginia, where they said, "We are disappointed but not surprised by this decision." And I was like, well, they basically just admitted defeat. They're like, we got to keep fighting, but we know we're going to lose.
I wonder if their donations have increased or decreased as a result of this. Are people actually giving up, do you think?
I mean, it's sort of like throwing your money out the window while you're driving your car down the freeway. It's like playing the lottery.
But you know they're those rednecks, those religious that
what
are
are
just
they
saying,
donating? Food stamps?
Well,
I don't know that you can spend those.
I don't know. Well, let's move on. We have a new category, and I love you came up with this.
Yes. Well, you know, there are a lot of figures in politics and pop culture that it's like really just not a good idea to give them any airtime because they're so ridiculous. So we're not going to do it very often. But when we do, because there were so many these weeks from some of
when
the
they're
worst,
laughable, it's okay.
From some of the worst offenders. So this is a new segment we're going to call Checking In with Crazy.
All right, and we lead off with one of my favorites, Michelle.
Michelle Bachmann. I hate her so much.
And her husband Marcus.
You gotta lisp that S real hard when you say it. Michelle Bachmann this week accused the LGBT community of advocating for the legalization of child rape during an interview on a conservative radio show called Faith and Liberty. She said they want to abolish age of consent laws, which means we would do away with statutory rape laws so that adults will be able to freely prey on little children sexually. That's the deviance that we're seeing embraced in our culture today. Never in 5,000 years has marriage been anything other than between a man and a woman. It may have been between multiple women and a man. It may have been something like that, but it was always between men and women.
But here's what I wanted to, you know, my mom was a debate coach, and she always taught us that you have to have facts to you have to have facts to back up these kind of statements. Where is she getting her?
Wait, what? You mean you don't know about all that legislation where gay people are saying we want to get rid of the age of consent law so we can have sex with children? You don't remember all of those being put on all those ballot initiatives?
And you told me that she's thinking of running again?
Well, and she mentioned it in something. She was basically offended that nobody's mentioning her name as a possible contender, and I said, honey, that ship has sailed. I'll tell you what, she
and docked.
And Marcus threw the ticker tape parade.
And I just cannot wait, because I really do believe that there is going to be some Marcus scandal at some. I mean, I wrote the line, and so you could say what did Willem Belli say?
I don't know. It wasn't my line.
You're one of those actors.
No, I'm actually not. No, he said, Marcus, please. Oh, honey, there has been a cock in that mouth.
That's right. So
but he is going to be tap dancing in a restroom somewhere eventually.
Well, I want to know something, Emerson, because would you take one for the team with Marcus?
No, I would not.
Would you blow it?
No, it's like my problem with being a prostitute. I could be a prostitute if I was going to have sex with somebody that I would have had sex for free. But I can't just do it just because somebody gave me the money. No, I'm not taking
for the scandal.
I am not taking that one for the team. No.
Well, and let's move on to
horrifying.
The next crazy, because would you take it for the team with Pat Robertson?
No. I mean, probably. I mean, surely it doesn't work.
That one I think we'd have to.
He's got to be 107 and embalmed at this point. And this is what crazy Pat Robertson said this week. He was talking about a cake shop owner refusing to make cakes for gay weddings, which I love. I love that story every time, because they don't have a problem making cakes for people that have been divorced or had affairs or committed adultery. Nope, just the homo cakes we have a problem with. He said, what the gays are saying is, we're going to drive you out of town. Either you conform to us or you must leave. That's the message that's being put out. It's the same message that there was in Sodom and Gomorrah. You're either going to have sex with angels or have open sex with anybody, or else you leave or you go out of business. I don't remember any of us saying that you had to have sex with angels in order for us to get married.
It's just it has got to be the craziest quote ever. And I don't know, you had me watch it today. He has got these eyes now, that he's got the crazy eyes.
Yes.
And he said recently, he goes, I just cannot wait to meet Jesus. I say, go, Pat.
Go ahead.
Go.
He is waiting.
We are done with you down here. Go meet Jesus.
Go to the light, Patty Ann. You can do it. I swear, I actually love watching these clips now because now more than once it's happened with a co-host on the 700 Club, and he starts talking, and you can see that other extremely conservative religious person looking at him, thinking with their eyes real big, "Stop, Pat! Just stop! Just stop!" And they can't because he invented the whatever it is,
the Bible,
the Bible Network, and like well, I'm pretty sure he was at that committee meeting in 1400 or whatever where they decided what actually went into the Bible.
I think he was. I think he was sitting there with King James writing that.
And be like they were besties, King James and Patty. All right, moving on. And to our final crazy, the craziest
one of my
all, the
favorites.
one that actually makes me the angriest. Miss Sarah Palin is launching a new internet streaming TV show. She gonna have her own network on the intraweb.
Wow.
I mean, I can't really judge that because here we are doing ours on the intraweb, but like at least we have something actually intelligent to say once a show.
They're asking for...
they don't have a name yet.
So we are supposed to be, or people are supposed to be tweeting the name of the show, correct?
And people have not been taking it seriously. They have come up with wonderful titles, though, I think, based on current TV shows. It could be called The Amazing Racist. Whose Lie Is It Anyway? The Big Bang Theory is false. Or I Love Lucy but Deport Ricky. I think that's my favorite. So if you are listening to the show right now, you can go into the chat room, and if you will submit your proposals for the Sarah Palin show's new name, we'll read a couple of them later on. So log on to the chat room, and
we'll read our favorites. John's going to
we'll
tell
pick out
us.
some of the good ones, and we'll come back to those
I have
in a minute.
one.
What's yours?
The Cunt Has Been Show.
I bet that's available. I somehow think there's probably not any trademark issues with that choice. That's not a very nice word. Many people consider it to be misogynistic.
No, I understand that, and I always say I have reserved that word for only 3 people in my life. Michelle Bachmann, who we've already talked about, Sarah Palin, and Victoria Jackson.
I think you can add Ann Coulter to that list.
Well, yes, but I have to say intelligent cunt before.
No.
She is smart. You have to.
She's smart, but that makes it worse. It's the same problem I have with Michelle Bachmann. Sarah Palin's just a moron. Like straight up.
You think Michelle
moron.
Bachmann is smart?
She has a law degree and she worked as a federal prosecutor.
She cheated.
Yeah.
I promise you, she cheated.
You got to be smart enough to cheat. That still makes her smarter than Sarah Palin. She didn't know how to read a newspaper. And Ann Coulter is the worst offender of all because she does it to sell books. She doesn't believe anything she says.
I don't think she does.
She just says it to make money. And I think that's the worst offense. It's my problem with lots of the Fox News anchors. They know what they're saying is wrong, but then they know that if they say it and it's incendiary, it gets them ratings, their paychecks get higher, and I think that's the worst kind of hypocrisy because it's purely greed motivated.
Emerson, you have to calm down.
I'll dismount my soapbox. All right, we're moving on. We're already way off the schedule, so we're going to flash through the gay news real fast.
I thought we were doing really well.
That's because you never look at the clock.
Oh,
I'm the only. I write all these numbers next to our titles, everyone, so that we know how long we have to talk about these subjects.
Numbers.
So our next one says 3:10, and it's already 3:13.
Okay, hurry, flashing through
the gay news. So who's up first?
Well, we've got Yvette Schneider, who she's famous because she was a very, very high-ranking woman in the ex-gay movement, beginning with her work with the Family Research Council.
And what'd she say?
She has turned back to us. She has gotten back. Read the quote, Emerson. It's
she was a lesbian,
quote.
then she wasn't a lesbian for a long time.
And then
now
she was bisexual, and then now she says...
I love her quote, and I don't know where she's from, but obviously for us, everything works better if they're from the South. So she said, speaking to GLAAD, many people I knew suspected all along that true change, where all same-sex attractions disappear or become rare and incidental and heterosexual attractions take their place, never happened. I can say I've never met an ex-gay man I thought was not still attracted to men and would not go back to gay relationships under the right circumstances. I think she means alcohol or, seeing a man with his shirt off.
Just a hot man. Yeah, and we just keep seeing it over and over and over that these don't work. So, all right.
Flashing on.
Streetcar in Tucson. Did you hear what it's the name of the streetcar in Tucson?
Well, no, why would I? What's its new name? Desire? That's the only streetcar I'm really a fan of.
The new name is the Community Link Integrated Transit of Tucson.
Well, that doesn't exactly roll off the tongue.
And the headline in the Arizona Daily Star, Tucson loves the clit.
I'm sorry, what? Wait, so that's the acronym? Whatever all that nonsense you said spells out clit?
And I know it's not gay or it's not really gay related, but I thought we do have our 6 lesbian listeners and our 1 straight man, and this is for you. Go ride the clit in Tucson.
Oh, lesbians are going to be on board riding the clit. Hey, have you? I can't wait to see the T-shirts. Have you ridden the clit yet?
But it's so crazy. Tucson welcomed its new streetcar today, affectionately known as the Clit.
Come see the clit. It's easy to find.
Many kept riding the streetcar all day, stopping only for lunch, drinks, and extra oxygen before getting back
I
on.
feel like you're gonna wear it out if you ride the clit all day. That just seems dangerous after a certain point.
I'm not going
you
to
might
Tucson.
You might get overstimulated.
John, are you going to Tucson?
No.
I'm done.
That's hilarious.
Oh my gosh! Clang, clang, clang with the clit train.
All right.
They can make it a new. They got a new theme song. Meet me in Tucson. Clang, clang, clang with the clit train. All right, flashing on. A recent study has come out.
A what?
A recent
I
study.
think you said a recent.
No, it's just I'm going through puberty again, and I said a recent study says that the neighborhoods are becoming less and less queer. A study from the University of British Columbia finds that historically gay neighborhoods are becoming less queer. Chicago's Boys Town, the Castro in San Francisco, Atlanta Midtown, and New York City Greenwich Village. So
Well,
we're losing our neighborhoods.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with safety, that people just come into our neighborhoods. They say the gays are going to not rob us.
Well, everybody's getting gay married and moving to the suburbs.
That's true, too.
I I understand it and I think it's great, but I want to make sure, it's like we're losing all of the gay bookstores and all of that as well. I think with broader acceptance, I think not remembering to sort of preserve they don't need to be gay-only spaces, but gay-centric spaces. That's important.
Yeah.
I love living in WeHo.
I mean, where are we going to cruise?
Exactly.
It's very important.
I mean, you go out to other neighborhoods and he might just be Metro.
I mean, people. The other day, Kat Bayless and a friend of hers were meeting me, and I said, "Let's meet at St. Felix." And her friend showed up in Hollywood. I said, "Look, let me explain something to you. If a gay man says, 'Meet me at St. Felix,' and there's one in West Hollywood and one in Hollywood, it will be the one in West Hollywood.
Yes.
Because we go there for why? The drinks?
No, for the eye candy.
That's right.
Yes, so preserve your local neighborhood. Even if you move out to the suburbs, don't forget to go back into town. Flashing on. Okay, so like Midwestern housewives all across America got lady boners this week as the 50 Shades of Grey trailer was released online.
I saw it.
It's had something like 1 billion views already.
It was very clean. It looked like everything was clean. They
Well,
washed it.
I gotta be honest. I read those books. I picked them up in an airport while we were traveling to film festivals of Southern Baptist Sissies because I just need something I can read in really fast. And it's like the most vanilla version of BDSM that anyone who's actually ever been involved in BDSM has ever seen. Like the whole plot of the first book is he tied her up once with a tie, like a necktie. Ooh, it's so scandalous.
Well, in the trailer, I just saw like one tying up and then
Yes.
a blindfold, and then she gasped.
You just shouldn't be able to make. You should not be able to make a movie about S&M that could get a PG rating. I watched the trailer 10 times in a row, but really I was just listening to it for that amazing remix that Beyonce did of Crazy in Love.
Great.
I was
is
like,
that-
that's a half.
Have you heard it, John? You have to hear it.
No.
Ooh, it's a have sex song. Move over, Barry White. Beyonce's coming to town.
It is slowed down.
Okay,
and
flashing
great.
on, super quick. I found this way entertaining. People have often complained about Modern Family that Cam and what's his face Jesse Tyler Ferguson have the most desexualized gay relationship on television, even worse than Will's on Will and Grace. And because it took, they did a whole campaign to say, please let them finally kiss on TV, and they did a whole episode about that. But we have no idea the important question: who is the top and who is the bottom?
Who is?
Who do you think? What would be? I mean, I know you know because we talked about it. But before that, what would you have thought?
I would have. I thought.
Thought
that,
this
I
would be
thought.
the
I
case.
thought the way it was. The big guy.
Well,
the big guy.
Eric Stonestreet, who's straight and fantastic and gives a great performance as Cam, admitted in an interview that he and Jesse Tyler Ferguson often refer to Cam as a bossy, fussy bottom.
Yeah.
So that's the answer to the mystery. I somehow don't think that phrase will make it into a Modern Family script, however.
I just saw him in a great. Oh, I'm getting off track, but I saw him in a great episode. I'm catching up on American Horror Story, and he did the Piggy episode. Amazing performance.
I love that.
And finally,
All right, you do this one.
Oh, Jenny McCarthy. She said that she had something to say about Hillary Clinton. She had this quote, and now she's apologized. She insinuated that perhaps Hillary Clinton is a lesbian, and that there was an arrangement with Bill Clinton, and she did this on The View, and then she got in a lot of hot water, and then she had to backtrack, and I just love it. Every single week we have somebody who has to apologize, but I love her quote. It is, "I am a work in progress.
Yes, she is.
I hope you will be patient with me as I
Nope.
continue to figure myself out
Not gonna happen.
and grow to be an example of female empowerment I always intend to be."
Well, good luck with that one.
Because when you see Jenny McCarthy, you think of female empowerment.
Well,
That's
my favorite thing about the story was she made this big old joke. And let's be honest, like, I hate it when people have to apologize. She made a dumb joke.
It
like,
was silly.
Like,
I
that's
mean-
not an apology-worthy offense. Like, get over yourselves. People take
Yeah.
everything too seriously. But nonetheless, 5 minutes later on the show, they were talking about some woman criticizing another woman, and she did a whole speech about how women should be supporting other women. And in part of that apology, she did have to say, well, I'm a hypocrite. And I was like, well, that's kind of nice to own it. Well, now I want you to talk about how you've ruined children's vaccinations because you thought that they gave your kid autism and it didn't. But that's another soapbox we'll save for another day. Flashing on. All right, this is my favorite one. A gay porn star was arrested at LAX with a half a pound of meth in his ass.
a half a pound.
That's a lot
That
of
is
meth.
a lot of meth.
I mean, I don't know from personal experience, but that just sounds like a lot of meth.
and a lot of effort.
Like you could do it for a long time. Actor Bruno Knight was flying out of LAX and customs on a tip from DAA stopped him. He had no checked baggage, and when asked about his trip, he explained that he had been in North Hollywood partying with several male friends and that he'd taken meth, marijuana, cocaine, and GHB. He admitted he had 3 large objects filled with meth in his anus. 2 of those objects were produced shortly thereafter when Knight complained that he couldn't control his bowels any longer. He was admitted to the hospital when the 3rd object finally came out of hiding at the behest of an enema. So, I mean, it's just everything
So
about
many
this story is
questions.
amazing.
So many questions.
So we had a great time last week or the week before acting out a little scenario from a news story. So we have decided that we are going to bring Dell and Emerson Theater back this week. So I have written a scene. I make no promises of quality, as obviously Dell is in the writer in the room. But as I wrote the scene, I will play the porn star, and Dell will play the customs DEA officer. So,
And you know, and anytime we have a guest on the show, like last week, James was on the show, and now we've got Michael who's directing. This is
We're-
basically an audition.
we're really auditioning
for their
So
their
I'm
next
auditioning
movie, so
for more work. So
I can play officer number 1.
and
Okay.
I can imagine a porn star. All right.
All right, sir, could you step this way, please? Why are you sweating?
It's hot in here. I'm hot. Are you hot? It seems awfully hot in here.
You have no bags to check?
No, didn't need much. Just here with my boyfriend.
What's the purpose of your visit?
We're just in North Hollywood to see some friends. God, it's hot.
Have you taken any illegal substances, sir?
No. Well, a few. Well, just some pot.
Anything else?
Oh, and some coke.
Anything else?
Does GHB count?
Yes. Anything else?
Oh, well, yeah, and some meth. Definitely some meth. Can you excuse me for a minute? I really need to go to the bathroom.
In a moment.
I think I'm going to shit myself.
Are you ill?
No, well, I don't think so. Maybe a little high still.
Do you have any controlled substances on you?
On me? No, definitely not on me.
Are you carrying any controlled substances?
Not technically. No, I'm not carrying any. My hands are empty, see?
Are we going to find controlled substances in your possession?
Yes. Well, yes, I really need to go to the bathroom. Yes, then I can give you what I have.
What is the restroom? Oh.
Yeah.
So there in your...
In my ass. Yes, I have meth in my ass. In my ass. Well, not directly in my ass. In 3 objects in my ass.
3 objects? That seems like a lot.
I am an adult entertainer. 3 objects isn't even a challenging warm-up.
I see. What on earth made you think of putting meth in your ass to get on an airplane would be a good idea?
Well, it seemed better than a carry-on. This way I don't have to fight for overhead space.
And
scene. So I don't know how it really went down, but that's kind of how it went down in my head.
Great writing, Emerson.
I mean,
Great.
thank you. I mean,
Great
I
sketch.
am aspirational in that area. All right, that is the end of flashing through
So
the
like
gay
an
news.
uncomfortable scene to perform.
I mean, I feel like he was very uncomfortable.
I just love how he admitted it all.
I have to admit, I am not a method actor, and I did not put 3 objects into my ass to
Good.
prepare for this scene.
All right, Emerson, what's gay in sports ball?
What's gay in sports ball? I feel like we're doing so good with making gay sports ball a thing on our show, right?
We are.
These 2 are super quick. It's just fun that like 2 icons of 2 other sports ball industries, I think that's what they're called officially and technically, have come out in support of marriage equality. Tony Hawk, who is the superstar skateboarder, he basically made skateboarder as a sports ball thing, a thing back in the day at the X Games, came out and did a video for HRC in their Americans for Marriage Equality campaign. And I think that's awesome. Like every kid that does the X Games looks up to Tony Hawk. He's like 45 and still skateboarding.
And he's ours now. He's ours.
And he's good at it.
All right.
So thanks, Tony Hawk. And also, this one's my favorite. Ultimate Fighter. That's totally a sports ball arena thing. I don't know what Ultimate Fighting is. I feel like it's like fighting. That's the ultimate. They have cheerleaders, right? Ultimate Fighting. Kyle Kingsbury.
I don't think there are any ball. Well, Go ahead.
It's all sports ball. If it's competitive,
Everybody has balls.
and you get a score, and there's balls involved.
Yes.
Kyle Kingsbury revealed a pair of pink legalized gay underwear during his weigh-in over the weekend. He dropped his shorts. It's amazing because they do these weigh-ins, which I feel is some kind of fat shaming. Probably they all drop to their underwear and step on the scale in front of the entire press corps and all the other competitors to get weighed.
That's the only part I watch.
And he dropped trout, and he had on pink underwear and bent over at the waist and flashed his ass, and it said legalize gay.
Yay.
The best part was it was on Fox Sports 2, and when you watch the clip, everybody's like, look what he did. And the commentators do not miss a beat, do not acknowledge it. They say, Kyle Kingsbury up next. He just got engaged recently with his girlfriend, and there are many rumors and speculation that this fight is going to be his last, whether he wins or loses, and that he'll be retiring from the sport. Drops trout, and they're like, so he weighs in at 206 pounds, and
never acknowledge
not
it.
even acknowledged. I was like, yay, sports ball, homophobia.
Well, I love that he did that. That's awesome. There are many ways to get a message across.
Absolutely, there are. So that is what is gay in sports ball. We did so good.
We did. We sailed.
We are
did all
rocking
that.
along. We are right on time. We are going to take a short break, and we should be back shortly with the star of stage and screen, the brilliantly talented Michael Urie, to talk about his new show at the Mark Taper Forum in downtown Los Angeles, Buyer and Cellar. Stick around. Got it.
Child without a friend. I see a soul who thinks that it's the end. A broken will's the hardest thing to mend. But try to understand. I know you're hurting, I can see your pain, but you've got a future where there's no more shame. You're a miracle in spite of what they say. And you'll see a bright new day, 'cause it gets better. It gets better. It gets better. They said that you never belong. They lied and told you that you're weak and they are strong. They put that loaded metal in your head, but I can help you understand. Yeah, I know you're hurting, I can feel your pain, but you've got a future where there's no more shame. You're a miracle in spite of what they say, and you'll see a brighter day, 'cause it gets better. Oh, oh. It gets better. Oh, oh, oh. It gets better. Oh, 'cause you'll find some home, you are not alone. Today's your time, you'll be better than
Woohoo!
We are back.
We are back, and we are super excited to welcome to the studio the incredibly handsome and talented and witty and hilarious Mr. Michael Urie.
Hello.
Welcome,
Hi.
Michael. Good to see you
Good
again.
to see you too.
I
I'm
just-
scooting over so I can actually see you. Hello.
We still have him on camera.
Oh,
We
sorry.
did, we did, we got you.
Okay.
Good. Michael, you are so amazing in your new
Aw.
show. I was there, I think, the last night of previews, right?
Yes,
and,
and then at the party.
Okay.
It was,
Opening
yeah,
night
and the-
party.
it was-
Back up and do it like a real radio show. What's the show called?
We'll get to that. Buyer and Cellar at the Mark Taper Forum.
Yes.
And you've been doing this for a while.
For most of the 90s and 80s, yes.
So-
It feels like I've been doing it forever. We've been at the Mark Taper Forum for 3 weeks, and we have 3 more weeks. But I started in New York, and then I've been on tour for a few months. I'm almost to like 400. 440 performances or something like that.
You can just skip those previews in the next city.
Tell me about it. I don't need to rehearse anymore, y'all.
I feel like you've got it.
I've got it. Well, the problem is now, we came to the taper, and it's a thrust theater.
Right.
So like we've been playing in proscenium theaters, which are which is like I'm on a stage on one end and you're on the in the audience. So now there's people all around me. So we did actually have to rehearse this time.
Have to work it out a little bit. It's a staggering performance, but it is amazing script as well.
Yes.
Jonathan wrote a
Tolan's
hell of a script.
He's a brilliant writer.
Yeah.
And it's a really smart script.
And for those who don't know, and like me, I actually haven't seen it yet. We
What?
have tickets and we're coming. It's here in LA till August the 17th.
That's
it's
right.
definitely
Very good.
on the calendar.
Very good.
Please explain the concept because it's extremely brilliant. So give us the like hilarious
And very
rundown
gay.
of what this
Yes,
is.
absolutely. So it's a completely fictional tale about a totally made up guy who gets hired to work in the very real street of shops that Barbra Streisand built in her basement in Malibu.
I mean, it's the most amazing concept ever.
I know, and she really did build a street of shops in her mall, and she put them in her coffee table book, My Passion for Design, which you can get, I assume, on Amazon.
I would think so.
BarnesandNoble.com. and it's so it's beautifully photographed in this book and featured. And John Tolan's and friends one night were talking about it and about the sort of oddness of having a basement mall in your basement mall in your house. And he said, "How'd you like to be the guy who works down there?" And that's
Who wouldn't?
And that's where the play came from. And originally he wrote it as like an essay, or like first he wrote it as a Shouts and Murmurs piece for the New Yorker, but they didn't accept it. So he turned it into a blog entry, and it was really like a diary of the guy, where like he was hired on Monday, worked in the antique store on Tuesday, doll shop on Wednesday, fired on Thursday.
That's amazing. And now this requires you to do
I play everyone.
all of that.
I play everyone. Yeah, that's right. So I'm him, and I'm his one customer, and I'm.
I love the way you just said one customer, like you don't mean I have to be Barbra Streisand in this show, which is crazy because it's one of those like so many homos all across America like do a Barbara. Like what was the exploration process of like it doesn't need to be like exactly her, right?
Right,
like
right. Because I don't do. Oh, see, she showed up. She showed up. What
there
time
she
is
is.
it?
Hey, girl.
She shows
Hey,
up.
Bab.
She shows up every day around 4. I don't have to. So like there's no wig. There's no putty nose.
You don't go put on the nails.
No nails. Because it's dialogue scenes, so it's not like I'm coming in Barbara for a monologue or like an act. I'm not like singing and
Right.
It's like scenes. It's like I'm playing scenes with Barbra Streisand, and Alex Moore. So I'm playing both characters in the scene. So I can't do a lot. I can't, and also because it's like there's like conflict and drama and stuff like that. You can't just like, it can't be like a drag impression, like a drag act impression, or like an SNL. Like on SNL they'll like get a few mannerisms of a character and then make jokes around that, and that works for SNL. That's all you need. It's only 3 minutes long, but I gotta like do 100 minutes of this damn thing. So it really became more like trying to find the truth and treat it like a character. I mean, I really treated it like a character that I have all this great research for that I was able to do because she's everywhere.
There is plenty to mine from.
But there's no example of her pretending to shop in her mall.
At her fake mall.
So like for that, I really had to.
Be an
It's
actor.
hysterical too. It is hysterical.
It's
that
such,
part.
isn't
Yeah.
that great?
Yeah.
We have
Now,
some.
I want to ask one question because anybody who sees it, it's a lot of words. It's a whole lot of words.
It's a lot of words.
What was your process in memorizing?
Well, usually when I'm in a play, rehearsal and doing it over and over again in rehearsal and thinking about it, reading it. Generally, I don't have to like sit down and memorize lines. I'm pretty good at that, and I can usually just pick it up. You're like, maybe have to call for line a few times or get line notes or whatever. But usually I can just pick it up. With this play, I had to work my ass off to remember it. And rehearsing it, like when you're rehearsing a play, when you're rehearsing a play, there's downtime. Mm-hmm. There's there's scenes that you're not in.
There's someone else talking, so
there's
you can
someone
think.
else talking, exactly, so you can think and you can retain information, and that there was none of that. And by the time we got to our equity 10-minute breaks, I was so tired. I didn't want to go look at the script. I had to lay down.
Right.
It must have been so stressful, the opening of that play, between the opening and the reviews coming out, because it's you.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
you
yeah.
and Jonathan,
Yeah.
and your director.
And the director,
Right.
yeah. The first, the first few performances were some of the most terrifying. I still have vivid memories of standing right outside, right. Well, we started at the Rattlestick Theater, which is this teeny tiny little dump of a theater. Great place. They do great work.
You had to roll that in real quick. Yeah. I've done that so many times in my life.
But it's it's like upstairs.
Great
and
people.
Yeah, great people, and they do brilliant stuff. But it is adult. I mean, like I shared a bathroom with the audience. You know those theaters,
Right.
And they do some of the best work in town, and I've always wanted to work there. But it is, it's just, and I remember standing on, right outside the set, like about to walk on, and being terrified. In fact, the entire time we were at the Barrow Street Theater, which was the off-Broadway. So that was the off Broadway, and then we moved to off-Broadway, and then we went on tour. The entire time I was off-Broadway, I couldn't hear the pre-show music because I was like, ironically, my dressing room was in a cellar. Perfect. And I couldn't hear it. They just came in. Yeah, I didn't need monitors because I'm on stage the whole time. So before the show started, I would just hang out in my dressing room, and then they'd come get me, and I'd go do the play. But at the Rattlestick, I could hear the pre-show music, which is wonderful. It's this mix of Barbra Streisand hits sung by other people.
Oh, that's great.
This is really fun. It's a great mix of music.
It is.
But because I hadn't heard it for like a year and a half, when we got to Chicago and the first stop on the tour, and I suddenly had monitors, all of these bizarre feelings came back when I heard that. The music immediately made my stomach, it tightened into knots, and I was like, oh, I might have to go to the bathroom. It's like suddenly you're like, oh my God. It was like,
They've got to kick out the audience members. The Sit's memory comes back.
So it was very, but so like at the beginning, I was terrified, and then we were very, very lucky with the. Is this real wood? I was just wondering.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not. We were really, really lucky with the critics. They liked it a lot,
and have liked it everywhere.
They
I mean,
have
the
been
response
very
has been
gracious.
amazing.
Did
They
you
have been
audition
very-
for this, or
No, I didn't
was it
audition
an offer?
for this. Actually, it was an offer, but Jonathan and I had worked together on. Jonathan and I had worked together.
And you're done.
Kick up my mic. We worked together on Partners, a sitcom for CBS.
Yes.
Not the Partners that's about to come out, but the other Partners.
Right.
It's sad when you're a show that's 2 years old, 2 years off the air, and it's the old Partners.
Right.
But John was a writer on that, and we got to know each other really well. But I'd known him in New York, done some plays, some readings of his, and seen a lot of his. I knew his work from forever, from Speech and Debate, actually, all the way back from high school and stuff.
UIL? Were you in UIL?
Yeah, and TFA.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I have a movie. I have a documentary called "Thank You for Judging" that is about that world. It's going to be on DVD very soon.
Oh, I so want to see that because I've many times said that I would not have a career if it weren't for UIL. My mother was the high school speech and drama teacher, and UIL was our savior.
Oh my God! I mean, you can imagine doing this play. How much I used those skills, being alone on stage, playing multiple characters. I use
Did
that stuff all the
you
time.
do the speech and debate side or the one act play side?
Both.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Both. Yeah. I was all over that.
My first years of high school in Houston. We're getting real Texas for a minute because
UIL. Just so those who don't understand, it's called University Interscholastic League, and it's just competition in everything.
All the extracurricular
science, slide rule. Back when there were slide rules, now I think there's calculators or something. But speech,
and sports
drama,
too.
Yeah,
and sports too.
Football
Sports ball, yes. They
very
sports
Texan.
Ball, yes, and band. I was in marching band. We competed in UIL too, and so there was the one act play where everyone, and then there was a UIL for speech and debate. But there was also TFA in Texas, which is like the Texas Forensics Association.
Let's go back and judge. They've asked me a couple of times. I've never been available.
I've done it.
I want to do it.
I judged at nationals. It was thrilling. It's a huge crowd. It's the best,
and it's insane. Like for one act play at my high school in suburban Houston, Texas, it was like as big a deal as every sports ball.
Sure.
Because
Yeah,
and the year that we were at state, interesting bit of random trivia. The 8 plays that were at state that year, Stacey Oristano from Friday Night Lights was in one of them. Lee Pace was in another one of them.
Oh my God!
Because Lee Pace and Matt Bomer went to the high school down the street from me.
Oh,
and so
they went to the same high school.
Yes,
that's so funny.
Yeah, they did.
Huh.
Because we were like the door.
At the same time?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Lee's older, and Matt's 2 years ahead of me. And Jim Parsons went to my high school. Ran a bit of like TV trivia.
A lot of talent.
But like we've discovered, like we were like UIL, like one act play, like it was the thing.
Yeah, sure.
We never, Zapata High School never won UIL one act play. We never went to state even. We always stalled at regional or something. And so years later, they like condensed Daddy's Dying, Who's Got the Will, and they won state in UIL. So they sent me a medal because I said I'd never won, which was very cool.
Wow, your high school did your
No, another high school. Several high schools have done it now. But,
wow.
But yeah, I do have.
We won my junior year with 6 Degrees of Separation.
Oh,
I believe we did that play
was
in
bold.
Plano, Texas.
Yes.
I know, it was intense.
That's
and
amazing.
They cut them down to 40 minutes.
I
too.
know.
That's what was great.
That's the best part.
But well, I shouldn't say that, but that play worked all right in 40 minutes. The next year we did Arcadia by Tom Stoppard.
That's a lot harder to cut. I mean,
it's like a 4-hour play about
Yeah.
math.
Yeah.
It did not.
Math is hard at the end. Like brought to you by Barbie. Tom Stoppard via Barbie is a 40-minute play.
like doing Streetcar.
Yeah.
One act play competition.
Nah.
A streetcar named Clit. The 40-minute Cliff Notes. We do have a couple of great questions from our fans,
Yay.
specifically about Buyer and Cellar. And I know they're the questions you get a lot, but the answers are kind of really great. So tell them for us like it's the first time you've heard this question. Our Chuck Harnish asks, have you heard anything directly from Barbara about the show? Has she seen the show?
She hasn't seen the show, and I haven't heard anything directly. The few things I had. Can I cuss on this?
Yes.
Okay. The few things that
We just said clit.
So, right, of course. Well, that's
we
an
go.
acronym. Okay, so when the Entertainment Weekly last year gave us a very nice plug in the year-end issue, and I was interviewed for it, and they said, "What would you do if she came?" And I said, "I'd shit my pants."
That seems fair.
And supposedly, she read that, and she said, "Oh yeah, he's smart."
That's the best review ever. Be like, now you don't even need to come. I already got the quote. That's the story for the book.
He's smart, Barbara
That's
Streisand.
amazing.
And then also, at the beginning of the play, there's a sort of prologue that's part disclaimer, but part warm up act and part setup. And in it, I say that Jonathan Tolan's, the writer, has met Barbara Streisand once. She saw another play of his, and before it started, she offered him a piece of her Kit Kat bar. And supposedly, someone told her about that and said, "Yeah, you actually met this writer. You offered him a piece of your Kit Kat bar before a play that he wrote." And she goes, "Huh. Did he take it?"
Yes.
And they said, no, he didn't take it. And she said, "Well, that's funny."
That's amazing.
And then like people close to her have come, like her manager and her publicists. Some publicists have come, and I assume lawyers have been. I don't really know.
That's probably true.
But
we
they've
saw
been very kind. Everyone's been very kind.
Roz and Jason were at the show that we went to last night, and I was like, I totally want to know if they're like have been to see the LA production yet.
Roz has.
Yeah,
Roz came, but she didn't come say hi. Wait, what show is that?
Scott Nevins did his one-man show last night, and he's friends with Jason. And we sat down.
I didn't see them.
And our friend Blake is one of those, like, our friend Blake McIver is one of those crazy Barbara fans. Like, he wants to do the 94 concert as a whole concert of his own, just the whole thing.
Do it.
It's
smart.
a lot. But he was like, that's Roz right there. And
That
I was
94 concert was a great inspiration to me, actually.
it is for all of the Barbara gays.
It's fabulous.
It is truly an exquisite concert.
Oh my God, brilliant, worth the wait.
Can we discuss for a moment that like the gay grapevine of Hollywood? There's been the long-running like 3-month rumor that like you were going to do it at her house. Like people have been saying it like it's fact. Like, can somebody get comps? And I'm like, I don't think that's a real thing.
As far as I know, it is not a real thing.
It would be the only way they could. I think they would have
is.
to clear the theater or just do a special theater with her friends or something, because I mean, nobody would be looking at you.
I agree. and if she was in disguise, it wouldn't be fair to her, I don't think, to be like subjected. It would be like going to. I mean, not that it's mean, because I don't think ultimately it is mean, but it is sort of like going to your own roast without anyone knowing you're there.
Right. It seems like make the DVD and send it.
Yeah.
And
or I mean, we could do it for her, maybe an amended version, slightly amended version, as long as like there were people there to laugh.
Now
I'm
picturing just like an empty theater, and it's just her.
That's your hell. That is your
Jason
hell.
and Roz.
performing
That's like the
forever.
one-man show for the one-woman audience.
But I did meet Roz. Roz didn't. She came to see the play. But she did not come. Roz.
Like we're
Rosalind
best
Kine.
friends.
Her half-sister.
Her half sister, Rosalind Kine. She came to see the play. She didn't come say hi afterwards. But I wouldn't expect her to at all. Neil Diamond didn't come back.
I mean,
and
he had to smoke.
and he didn't bring me flowers.
You don't bring me flowers.
But I did meet Rosalind Kine at another event at a benefit that we were both performing in, and I was actually doing a bit with the book from the I was actually doing a whole Barbara bit at this benefit, so I was backstage with the book in my hand. So I was like, "Hi, I'm Michael. I'm doing the play about your sister." And she's like, "Oh right, it's about my sister." She talks just like Barbara Streisand. And I was like, "Yeah, it's about the mall in her basement." She's like, "Oh yeah, uh-huh." And I was like, "Have you been down there?" And she goes, "Yeah."
Yes.
She gave me the smallest and most annoyed. Yeah.
I think it's weird too. What do you want? What do you want from me? Like, I don't know. Like she's
Also, I guess it was a dumb
she's
question.
Babs.
Of course, she's been in
she's
the
like,
mall.
yeah,
She's her sister.
She's my sister. I've been
My
to her
sister.
house.
I've been to her house.
What do you want from me?
What do you want?
Mine just suddenly became like Joey Buttafuoco. I'm not doing a Barbara.
Not wrong.
It's
Not
like
wrong.
A little bit related. All right. Well, Buyer and Cellar is at the Mark Tabor through August 17th. You can get tickets at the Center Theater Group online. But let's talk about some of your other stuff because that's huge and exciting. But you really have an enormous amount going on. You know, I mean, you started in the theater long before the explosion that was Ugly Betty, and like now you're off into your Broadway debuts and How to Succeed, and then on to this. But you're doing a lot of directing as well. Yes.
Yeah, I've directed some film. I've directed the documentary I co-directed with some collaborators, and then He's Way More Famous Than You, which is out on DVD and streaming and all that stuff. We had a nice little theatrical release, and that's a very funny movie that I directed that's co-written by my partner Ryan Spahn and Hallie Pfeiffer. It's very funny meta comedy. And then I directed a short film that's going around to festivals, and I want to do more of that. I mean, I like that, and it's actually interestingly, and you probably know about this, Del. You know a thing or two about directing.
It's happened once or twice.
And performing, because and being alone on stage, I find. And I'll be interested to hear what you think, but I find doing a show alone on stage is a lot like editing a movie.
Yeah, you're right.
Because
but you're just editing in your head.
That's right. That's
The whole time.
The whole time. Even though I don't change the words, you might change your words.
Oh, I have a map, but I don't stick to anything.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't change the words, but I change the pace. I change the timing. I change the volume. Whatever I feel like I need to change, and it's all happening very quickly in my little brain, based on the audience. And that's kind of how, I mean, you're thinking about the audience, but you don't have them there when you're editing a movie. But when you're in the edit bay, you're constantly like trimming and moving and shaking. It's all about fixing the timing. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. And I wonder how well I would be, I wonder how easy, I wonder if it would have been harder to do this one-man show if I hadn't spent so much time in edit bays on these movies.
It is an interesting process. Well, and there's no one else on stage, so you can cater to every audience exactly what's happening in the journey.
That's right.
Because there's no one else to worry about.
That's right. And that's why after like 440 plus shows or however many it is, it's still fun because it really is like a new show every time because my co-star is different.
It's the audience.
Yeah.
That's really a fascinating and fun adventure.
Well, it felt like the first time to me. I swear. I'm going to come back. I'm going to bring people because it's just a staggering, I keep using that word, staggering performance. Del Shore. A staggering performance. Del Shores.
And also starring in Such Good People that just had its big LA premiere and is making the rounds. Yes?
Yes, that's going around. That's a very funny movie that is with me and Randy Harrison and Drew Droege and did you see it?
No. He's just being silly because I worked on Queer as Folk, and I have said things publicly in my stand-up about Randy, and I'm sure it's gotten to him, but I've stopped, but they were true. But anyway,
so we made a compromise on how we were going to address this today, and that's as far as he's allowed to take it.
Okay, but hello, Randy. I know you're listening. You stalk me daily, and I do love your work.
This portion of the program not brought to you by Michael Urie.
Well, we had he was not a bad person to jump into bed with.
No,
on screen,
no complaints.
I have certainly. And
well, you got a lot of experience on our show.
I know. When we got to those scenes, I was like, "So what do you do here?"
So
and he's like, ugh, don't worry about it.
You're like, I have
He
been
was
to
like,
this
is-
rodeo and
yeah,
back.
exactly. He's like, it's no big deal. It'll be over in a second.
I love, by the way, Michael, I loved your interview in Frontiers where they addressed you coming out and you had the fear of, you were told to stay in the closet during Ugly Betty and you came out and I love this. But for me, coming out has only aided my career. So
Really?
You didn't even have to
thank
say
you.
the quote and got applause.
Thank you.
um,
That's very true. I imagine.
I feel
that
the same way.
I would have
Yeah.
worked a lot less if I hadn't. I can't imagine that. These opportunities would have.
So it's so empowering too, and I tell people if you can do. There's a lot of people who can't. They're worried about their jobs or whatever in the hinterlands. But if you can do, and it's the reason that our nation is changing because we're putting faces on gay, and it's a good face you got.
I mean, it is quite a good. I mean, it's all good. And I will quite honestly say, it's a conversation we have a lot about, like, out actors and the challenge of that, and like as the climate's changing. And you really are one of the few handful of examples that can be held up, because a lot of them are still in the project where they came out. So there's the like, okay, but what happens next? And you're one of the like great examples of like the enormous amount and the variety of the body of work that you've created since Ugly Betty, which was so amazing. And just sidebar for a moment, like Becky Newton is one of my favorite things in the entire world, and like that there isn't a show like just starring like beautiful girls that are willing to like go that balls to the wall for comedy, with like the two of you being like, let's just throw spaghetti at the wall and see what fucking sticks. Was just one of my favorite things ever on TV.
Thank you.
But you really are a great example, I think, to younger LGBT and queer identifying actors of like, you can you choose the path, like it's up to you, and like do the opportunities that you're excited about, and your work is amazing.
And also, I think, thank you.
And
That's
never
very, very
stopped.
sweet.
You have never stopped working.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
it's just-
I think that something that's tricky in show business that sometimes is a hard lesson and a hard pill to swallow is like sometimes you want one thing and others want something else for you.
Sure.
And the truth is that is really the path. Whether or not like maybe I wanted to be Tom Hanks, maybe I wanted to do romantic comedies, but that very early I realized that's probably not going to happen. I'm not going to be in Sleepless in Seattle and then from there go to being the greatest
Romantic comedy star.
yeah, and Saving Private Ryan and Forrest Gump and doing movies like that where like that, maybe that's what I thought I wanted to do and I thought I could do, and I realized at a certain point, well, no, but God, look at the things I am doing. I'd rather succeed at these directing and doing one-man show and being on a Broadway musical than fail at trying to be Tom Hanks like that.
Well, and I do believe that I mean, what is amazing about you is you're just uber talented. I mean, you're going to work forever, and it's the work that we want and we need. So, and you will be at those Oscars. I did with the right vehicle. Yes, you will.
Well,
I
and
hope so. It
and
would
I
be
think
nice.
what you said is really important, and I think that's not gay. I think that's actor and entertainer in general. It's like not limiting yourself to the plan A.
That's right.
Like
It's totally,
allowing,
it's totally,
like having
yeah.
a plan A is important. Having a plan,
Sure.
and then but like allowing for plan B and C and D and E and F to take you to other interesting places, and
That's
being
right.
available for that is really important.
I could have never imagined that I would spend 2 years doing a one-man show, but it's been phenomenal. And if you'd asked me 3 years ago, would you want to take 2 years aside and do a one-man show? I'd be like, are you crazy? No.
Right.
No, I want to do this. I
Well,
wanna do that.
you are on my short list of I must work with. So
Well,
I hope
let's
that,
do
yes,
some. I would love to.
someday.
I'm
I
a
would-
huge fan of yours.
Well,
I've been for years. I would love that.
So mutual. So we have to go and see what our
Oh
fans
yes,
did
really fast.
quick.
We ask for our fans for some names of Sarah Palin's
And
new
if-
online streaming TV
And
show.
if you can think of one, Michael.
good.
we'll-
So what are the best ones we got, John?
All right, so far, Stage Geek says Failing with Palin.
Oh yes.
Oh, that's good.
I like it.
Ken Hartsfield says Bullshit.
that works too.
Um,
Although
Subtle.
Oh, yeah, Walden 1 says Que Sera Sera.
that's too smart. She would know what that means.
And then Ken Hartsfield again says Republicans for
Yes.
Jesus.
I think we'll take that for the win.
Oh.
Republicans for Jesus.
and
Sarah Palin.
Tony has one. Tony.
Sweet.
No.
Ball.
This is
Tony Ball.
Tony. We'll call him Tony G. Palin's problems is
No, let's stop. Let's be done. Republicans. That's
You can't
that's
beat
the
that.
winner.
New one.
All
Thank
right.
you.
And then to define cunt, it means can't understand normal thinking, and that's from Daniel Schaefer.
Oh, that applies to me sometimes too. All right.
What a great show
we
we've
gotta
had.
wrap up.
Thank
Michael
you so
Urie,
much.
Thank you so much for being with
Thank
us.
you
You can
so
find
much.
him on Twitter at Michael Urie and check out the Center Theater Group at the Mark Taper Forum for tickets. Do not miss his show in Los Angeles through August 17th, and keep an eye on it because he's taking it all over the country.
Yeah, Dallas. I'm going to Dallas.
Yes.
First week of September.
So you'll be able to see him everywhere. Next week, we have joining us Alec Mappa and his husband to talk about their adventures in being gay baby daddies.
Yeah.
So that should
that'll
be entertaining.
Fun. Very funny man. And what's up with you? Anything?
No, that's it. We got to be done.
We're done. Tony Sweet's up next.
Up next, on air with Tony Sweet.
And
then
right
stick
after
around,
that,
as always, for
Miss
Ann Walker. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
I need to speak to a supervisor.
Hi, this is Ann Walker. Listen for me every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Only on ubnradio.com.